ACDF Surgery. Anterior. Cervical. Discectomy. And fusion. Anterior cervical discectomy and fusion.
Hello, this is Roy Zorno from New York City. This video is designed to tell you my experience with ACDF surgery. That stands for anterior cervical discectomy and fusion. Anterior means the front, cervical is your neck, discectomy means they pull out disc material that's problematic, then they put spacers in, then they fuse it up. That's the fusion they use, in my case, a titanium plate. I had 2 levels done, C5 through C7. That was 11 days ago. Doing pretty well. Was off pain pills in 7 days, back at work 8 days, back at the gym, doing light stuff, after just a few days actually. So, but your mileage may vary. So let's get started. What the H happened to my neck? Here we go. First of all, I am not a doctor. I don't play one on TV or on YouTube, so don't listen to anything I have to say. Not a thing? That's right, not a thing. Trouble might have started many years ago when I was in law school and another car jumped the median and smashed into mine with a head-on collision that just destroyed my car. I was wearing a seatbelt and I walked away shaken but unharmed. It was still better than law school. Another possible cause was a weightlifting injury I had. That's me lifting their actual footage. Where I lifted a barbell behind my head, I pressed it up and I felt a sharp pain in my neck. And it was years before this footage was taken where I could then do this again. I began to develop bad shoulder pain, arm, neck, shoulder blade pain. You could even call it pain radiating from the neck down into the shoulder and arm, and I decided I had to do something about it. So the idea is you try conservative measures and you just try stuff and hope it works, and everybody has advice and none of it works. It seemed like I tried everything. I tried acupuncture with electricity, TENS units, hot pack, cold pack, massage. Again, that's actual footage of me getting a massage. I wasn't quite sure about the rules in the beginning. And none of it seemed to work. The pain was still there, mocking me, making me miserable. Unfortunately, my symptoms seemed to be getting worse. In addition to the pain, I was having twitches and muscle spasms. And this was particularly worrisome to me because my mother had died a few years before of a neurological disease that involved dyskinesia and trouble controlling muscles, and it wasn't supposed to be genetic, but I was nonetheless having a lot of anxiety and insomnia about it. Now, when I'm talking about insomnia, I'm not talking about people who say they have insomnia, who say, I was up all night, and it turns out they were up till like 1 a.m. I'm talking about being up till frickin' 5:30 in the morning with the sun coming up, and you've been on Medline and MedHelp and what you think you got every disease in the book, and you're not sure how you're going to tie your shoe because you're so tired. So I decided to get checked out by a neurologist. I saw someone who said I was fine, although I did have a very slight benign tremor in my left hand. I then saw an orthopedist who did an EMG or electromyogram test, a test where they insert fine needles in your muscles and then measure nerve response to slight shocks that they give you. What followed was a lot of back and forth with my insurance company to get authorized for an MRI, which I finally got. This isn't my MRI that you're looking at, but it's very similar. You can see the impingement there of the disc material onto the spinal cord, which is running down the center. I had impingement on C5 through C7. A friend of mine suggested I see this physician, Dr. Andreas Neoftidis, who's a neurologist who specializes in the spine. He did some reflex tests, looked at my MRI, and suggested that I get surgery right away. He mentioned potential bladder and bowel problems. Now, I don't know about you, but when I hear bladder and bowel problems, it tends to focus my attention. So I was thinking that this might be the right thing to do. For something this serious, I decided to get a second opinion, so I saw Dr. Anthony Frempong. He's a neurosurgeon who specializes in minimally invasive neurosurgery. He saw me and did some tests and said I wasn't in immediate danger, and probably the best thing to do would be to wait 6 months and see how I was doing. This was impressive because surgeons like to cut. So I waited, and I did some more of this palliative type of care that ends up actually doing nothing, at least in my case. So at this point it was back to Dr. Frempong, and he was great. He didn't pressure me, but I could see the structural damage on the MRI, and I just wanted to get it done. I went to the internet to check out some videos by people who had had ACDF surgery. This is one by Fen Oswin. He has a very raspy voice, and I hope he's doing well. I would not recommend this next one. It was of the actual surgery, and I'm sure it was very skilled, but to me it looked like a barbecue contest on the Food Channel.
This is it next to
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I like that lady. She seemed really honest, but she also scared the crap out of me because she seemed like she was in so much pain. And just in general, I was frightened because anything going in through the front of your neck, you know, there's a natural instinct to protect your neck, I think, and it's just kind of frightening in general. So with that for inspiration, my mind was made up. I was going for it. I scheduled the surgery the morning after an improv show. That's the group I'm in, Snazzle Dazzle, and my partner Brian. He's on the right. Another fun thing you get to do the night before, at least if you're in an area like the US where there's deadly flesh-eating MRSA in all hospitals, is wipe yourself down with these sticky antibacterial wipes. You get to do it the next morning too. Dr. Frempong inspires confidence, but I have to tell you I was nervous. They took me down to a very cold operating room, and I was just staring up at the lights and wondering if I made the right decision, but kind of realizing like it was too late to do anything about it. And then the drugs hit your system, and the operating lights start to swim and get weird, and before you know it, you've woken up in the recovery room.
Oh, Maron, he looks terrible.
It's not actually that bad. You're not on a ventilator. You're going to be groggy, but you're going to be sort of still doped up with a little General, so you're not in pain. And you have nurses like on you, just attending to you. I had a stent, this kind of tube thing coming out, draining fluid into this reservoir, which was pretty cool. I also had these leg squeezers, I guess, so I didn't clot out and die on the table, and they were actually kind of soothing. They felt good. What was not quite so good was my experience with my roommate the second night in the hospital, a kindly gentleman named Mr. Curtis, who wanted the room kept very hot, so I had to negotiate to get it a little bit cooler. He also seemed to think the bathroom was a giant urinal and spittoon, and he just like made a complete utter horror show in there. So I was glad to get out of the hospital and come home. So then I'm home, and I'm so glad to be home in my own bed with nobody bugging me, nobody poking me, prodding me, nobody firing loogies into the bathroom that I have to use. Just peace and quiet and my own environment, which is nice. I recommend to anybody, get out of the hospital as soon as you can. I wasn't ready after the first day, but I definitely was ready after the second day. I don't think it's good to be in a hospital if you can help it. But then the big show is over, all the big stress is over, and you start to face a new set of challenges, like the mundane things that go along with having major surgery, and let's go into a couple of those. One of these is swallowing. Swallowing is difficult, especially the first few days after the surgery. Then it gets better, but it still can be a problem for a while. It makes sense because they've moved your trachea over and like moved everything in your neck aside to get access. Another problem is your voice. Your voice will be different, and you can be a little wheezy or raspy. Another effect of the surgery is pain, which can be managed. They will give you pain medication for that, blessedly so. but it can also constipate you. So eventually you will probably end up taking a laxative. I did. My laxative decided it would wait until my first walk outside of my house in order to start working. And what resulted was a scene kind of like that in Dumb and Dumber. Thanks, Gaia, whimsical, unpredictable, natural laxative. Eventually you get that straightened out though, and it's time to kind of exercise and go back to the gym. I hired this trainer to show me how to use a treadmill because you want to start gradually. You don't want to be doing Olympic weightlifting right away. Just start slow. So here I am at day 11, doing very well. I still have some pain in what I call the cloak area, which is like if you were wearing a cloak, it would be like right here across there. My scar is, there it is. Still a little nasty in this light, but hopefully it'll fade. I'm putting this stuff called Scar Guard on it. There's still stitches that are absorbable that are in there. Couple things that I recommend. When you're in the hospital, use this breathing thing that they give you that it'll show you your lung capacity. You try to like breathe in and this thing goes up because it's very important to get oxygen. Sometimes when you're lying down, just the weight of your chest, I guess, can keep you from breathing deeply, and you want to be breathing as deeply as you can. Another thing is this cervical memory foam pillow. They're expensive, but they're really nice. You can like figure out all sorts of ways to rest your head in there, so you have options. You don't want to be in one position for too long sometimes. But that's it. And the thing to do is think of the future and think of when you're going to be pain-free and how much better it's going to be, because it's kind of boring and tedious and not fun. So you just got to imagine like how happy you're going to be later. And if you do everything right, you'll be doing this soon.
Yeah, high five. Yeah, high five. High five. Yeah. Yeah, high five. High five. 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 I feel the New York energy. Yeah. And I just lose the way that I talk.
You sound like a regular Joe. Wow.
Yeah, I feel like a regular Joe. For the first time in my life.